Welcome back to our Empires of the Undergrowth story mode playthrough. On the heels of our complete shredding of the first gateway mission, we are going to play story level 2.1, Rising Tide. We're going to continue to play on medium difficulty. Rising Tide. The beach provides a feast for those brave enough to venture there, but sunset brings new dangers. Here we go. Look at these cool looking ants. Oh, okay. Nick told me I should do mortars, I think. Although he's also mentioned something about rapid fires as well. So let's try mortars. A slow firing wood ant that deals high damage on impact. At level 3 it gains area damage. So Nick suggested that we take our mortar ants up to level 3 as quickly as possible.
This Formica rufa wood ant queen has laid her first brood in a burrow near the sea. Her nest is just on the outskirts of the beach, the perfect vantage point for scavenging hapless morsels washed in by the tide. At the moment, the tide is out, but it won't stay that way. The ants must make haste and stockpile what they can, while they can. There is food to be found all over the beach, but the wood ants must be cautious and choose their trails carefully. Tiger beetles frequent the higher ground, and they will make quick work of any wood ant that strays too close.
So as the narrator said, we've got to get moving. So we started by opening the entrance to the outside, to the beach, and then laying down some food tiles, and then to the left of our queen we're going to be putting down some worker tiles. This will be our worker brood space for the entirety of the playthrough. Goal is to get these workers down quickly and send them outside to pick up some food. There is food underneath here, but quite a bit of it is protected by a bunch of bad dudes, so we'll have to take them on later once we have some soldiers. Here we are outside finishing up the first little food patch that we got, a little bit of a free patch, and looking at some other stuff. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the seagulls just waiting to pick off our little friends. Moments later, we start setting up some food tiles because we want to get as much as we can down here underground in the colony. As we will see later, the tide will rise, and that will prevent us from going out for a little while. Tireless workers continue excavating, making room for some mortar brood.
There are other wood ants out here. They have also come to take advantage of the buffet provided by the sea. Territorial disputes will invariably favor the colony with the greater numbers.
But what's this? Our workers have inadvertently released a devil's coach horse larva. Would that be a coach full? That's right. This is the channel for all your terrible dad jokes. Fortunately, we're more than a match for one coach horse larva. 24 workers can easily take it out. Turning it from a threat into food.
The tide is coming in. Soon the lower levels of the beach will be flooded. Any ants caught in the surge will be washed out to sea.
And here we encounter our first opponent mortar ants. You can see a tiny little battle raging here as we all vie for the food on the beach. A short time later, a battle is raging over that same cache of food. We, of course, don't know the meaning of the word retreat.
The water is rising quickly. The ants must head for higher ground. The colony is starving. There's not enough food to feed the new brood.
Look at them go, our little butt-shooting friends. We're going to take them out and make inroads into their territory, stealing their food.
The tide has almost reached its highest point. The sands east of the nest are about to be completely flooded.
And despite numerous warnings, the tide comes in and our ants go out. Poor little guys. Or gals.
The tide is in, and soon night will fall. As the temperature drops outside, nocturnal creatures begin to awaken. It would be wise for the roofer colony to stay underground, and hope that their nest remains hidden until the morning.
Overground, nocturnal hermit crabs rule over the sands at night. These creatures are typically scavengers, searching for algae and carrion on the beach. But due to the unusual incursion of Formica rufa colonies into this area, this particular community of crabs has developed a taste for ant flesh.
Our friends are hunkering down inside the nest, filling their food stores before settling down for the night. Just kidding, ants never settle down.
A hermit crab has found its way into the nest. The ants must mount a swift and decisive defense.
The hermit crab gets within spitting distance of the queen, but fortunately the only ones who can spit here are us. This hermit crab's going down. Hermit crab threat removed, the ants get back to work. But moments later,
A group of hermit crabs have stormed the nest. The larvae must be protected.
trusting in our faithful colonists to murder the hermit crabs, we begin developing a brood space for melee fighters. And of course, it's not long before the crabs are down and incorporated into our food stores. Short time later, we open a food cache to find rival ants. They don't last long either. A few seconds later, this happens.
More hermit crabs have found the nest.
This time, though, we have a couple of melee fighters who can tank, so the workers don't have to bear the brunt of the attack.
The tide is receding and a new day dawns. The hunters of the night return to the safety of the shadows, and the ants can begin to lay down new trails. The harvest must go on.
As day 2 dawns, we are in great shape. We have 11 soldiers, most of them mortars, 24 workers, and full food stores. Things are looking bright.
A dead sardine has been washed up on the beach. This feast is too precious to pass up, but the smell will soon attract other scavengers. The ants will need to amass in great numbers to defend such a prize.
Realizing they don't like sushi, our ants decide to ignore the sardine and instead focus on building out our troops. First the melee, then the mortars. Later that morning, we're out on the beach sunning ourselves and snacking a bit, when a tiger beetle dashes up, presumably kicking sand in our faces. Our troops make a valiant attempt to stand up to the bully, but it is all for naught, and they are sliced to ribbons. A short time later, we engage in a prolonged battle with the other colony's ants, each of us vying for foodstuffs. While the battle rages, we finally begin upgrading our mortars. It's a sight to behold and a sign of our increasing dominance.
The tide is coming in. Soon the lower levels of the beach will be flooded. Any ants caught in the surge will be washed out to sea.
Having annihilated their troops, we head off to plunder their northern farmlands. This time, we will prevail over the tide. With the tide rolling in, we decide to purge our nest of unwanted neighbors.
The tide has almost reached its highest point. The sands east of the nest are about to be completely flooded.
There is another creature roaming the sands tonight. Arctosa parita, the sand bear wolf spider. In the day, these spiders retreat to the shade provided by larger plants on the edge of the beach. But once the sun has gone, they are far more active and on the hunt for a midnight feast.
While the narrator was telling us about the sand wolf spider, we were busy taking out a fully grown coach horse without any problems.
A wolf spider has found the nest entrance. She is only small, but her venom will quickly incapacitate any ant that tries to fight alone.
That baby wolf spider didn't stand a chance. It lasted only seconds. A few moments later, we reached the final and ideal configuration of our mortar brood space.
Another wolf spider has entered the nest. This one is large, fast, and voracious.
Our ants didn't break a sweat taking out that spider. Not that ants can sweat. It's time to refresh our food stores with a hot meal of horse flesh. We continue our eviction campaign, but just as we serve notice on some coach horses, several wolf spiders invade, putting the colony at serious risk.
The ants must protect the queen.
Our workers are decimated and our queen exposed. The wolf spiders could take her at any time. Fortunately, our soldiers dispatch the coach horses and go to work on these 8-legged nasties. Of course, we destroyed the spiders, but it left our troops battered and bruised, and the queen will have to work overtime to replenish them.
As the sun rises over a new day, the tide recedes. The nocturnal creatures return to the shadows, and once again, the harvest must continue.
As day 3 on the beach dawns, our nest is focused on upgrading all its mortar soldiers. Soon, very soon, they will be unstoppable. The night's travails have left the queen hungry for tasty morsels, so every available ant is sent to retrieve chicken nuggies, morsels from the beach. Unfortunately, our queen is not the only hungry creature this morning, and so some of our friends become breakfast for a tiger beetle. Fortunately, there's plenty of food to go around, especially when we're happy to take it from the other ants. Look at our happy little ant trail. All our little gals are on their way to grab food and fight off the enemy. Back in the brood chamber, we continue to upgrade our mortar ants. It's only a matter of time until they're all doing splash damage. Once again, we press on to the Northern Territory in search of food for our queen. We make a push to get all of our mortar ants to level 3, but unfortunately, we run short of food. Where are our friends with the much-needed supplies? Let's go find out. Seems the only thing here is the enemy. We'll have to find food supplies somewhere else. Oh, this looks like a nice spot. How about we send a few ants over here to grab some food for their queen? As we near level 3 with all of our mortar ants, it's time to start thinking about our melee ones. There's no doubt they will serve us well in times ahead. A pitched battle breaks out on our new farm parcel, but the enemy doesn't stand a chance. We decide to seize the momentum and make a bee, or I guess ant line, for the juicy morsels just to the north. We barely even notice the enemy's feeble attempts to repulse us. With such an abundance of nutrition coming in, we further develop our melee brood space.
The tide is coming in. Soon the lower levels of the beach will be flooded. Any ants caught in the surge will be washed out to sea.
With the tide coming in, we pull everyone underground. We will hunker down for the night. No one will defeat us. Ants strong! But we cannot just rest on our abdomens. The factory must grow. Wait a second. Wrong game. The colony must grow. Notice we're bringing all our forces to bear. We're not messing around this time. But is this a mistake? Should we have left some melee troops to guard the entrance? I guess only time will tell.
There are intruders in the nest. The water is rising quickly. The ants must head for higher ground.
Our melee brute space is in its final configuration. All that remains is to upgrade our little brawlers. Of course, one cannot upgrade without food, and the appetite of this colony is insatiable. Fortunately, there's a vast unexplored area of our nest. Let's get digging.
The tide has almost reached its highest point. The sands east of the nest are about to be completely flooded. Predators are loose in the nest. The larvae must be protected. The tide is in, and soon night will fall. As the temperature drops outside, nocturnal creatures begin to awaken. It would be wise for the roofer colony to stay underground, and hope that their nest remains hidden until the morning.
Four wolf spiders make the mistake of dashing into our nest while most of our troops are hanging out with the queen. They won't last long. With only a handful of melee soldiers awaiting their level 3 upgrades, we venture into the final untouched area of our nest. What will it contain? Can anything hope to resist the combined might of our troops? I doubt it.
There are intruders in the nest.
3 fully grown devil's coach horses. These once terrifying beasts have gone from overwhelming threat to mere food source. The taste of horse meat is the taste of sweet, sweet victory.
More hermit crabs have found the nest.
While returning from demolishing the coach horses, some fool hermit crabs make the fatal mistake of entering the nest. They don't even make it past the entrance. Moments later, we apply the final upgrade to our melee troops. We are dominant. With full food stores and nothing to do with all that food, we begin to upgrade our workers, but then...
A huge wolf spider has found the colony. This one is a mother, and her recently hatched brood have followed her into the nest. These ants are facing an overwhelming infestation.
Despite the narrator's fear-mongering, the mother wolf spider and her children last mere seconds. At this point, drunk on success and excess food, I decide to upgrade virtually all of our worker tiles. Is it a mistake? We will find out. In search of food, and cockier than you can imagine, I decide to go up above in the middle of the night and take down this hermit crab. It's pretty much guaranteed to end poorly. There are enemies everywhere, and then this gigantic hermit crab comes to beat us up. It's not gonna work out well. We are gonna be screwed. Did I just sign our colony's death warrant?
The colony is starving. There's not enough food to feed the new brood.
Out of food and fighting creatures 100 times our size, we are doomed to failure until this happens.
As the ants grow in number, the local predators pose less and less of a danger. Eventually they will be displaced from this area entirely. Despite the dangers of the beach, it seems this intrepid queen's gamble to establish her colony here has ultimately secured her success.
So not surprisingly, we got an achievement for passing the level. Pretty exciting. Just like before, we're gonna go with Royal Jelly because superpowers are awesome. Not realizing how screwed we were, I decided to keep playing the level. Within a few seconds, I realized it was time to go back to the Formicarium. It took 54 minutes and 21 seconds. We got 20,000 points, whatever that means, and of course, I got no other achievements because that is how I roll.
How is the colony progressing?
The Queen is exhibiting interesting new behaviors. I believe the colony is beginning to adapt.
I really enjoyed Rising Tide. It's the first level I would replay to experience it in a different, not just more difficult way. Sort of like replaying an RPG with a different class or making different core choices. I can't wait to try the remaining levels of Empires of the Undergrowth. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to reading all of your comments and following all of your guidance on the upcoming boards. As always, please remember to have your pets spayed or neutered.